Good morning, YouTubians. Gary here with VW Jawbreaker. Welcome back to the channel. Today's project, we're going to get more done on the 60. If you remember, on the last video, we got the beam extension, the DIY beam extension, all mocked up. We got the beam bolted on. She's technically a roller with sideways tires. So what's the next step, you ask? Well, after the intro, we'll show you. All right, guys, so on this 1960 Franken Beetle, whatever we're gonna call it, because it's a toss of a Volksrod, Baja, street car, race car, blah, blah, blah. Rat rod, combination of everything. All the items I like in different vehicles wrapped into one. So today, since we have everything mocked up, we're not gonna finish welding yet. We need to get the tires to work, which means those tie rods need to be put in. But we got some stuff in the way. We got some metal in the way. So what we need to do is I drew a line. I wanted to try to keep most of this, but unfortunately tie rods need to go through right here, and if you see, there's your pitman arm right there, and it's got to come across right through here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and notch it up here, drop down right below the body tag, come back up, and I'll probably fabricable some kind of plate to go in here. I haven't really decided. That's so far down the road it's not even funny. So I think we should be able to do this with the beam on, because I'm going to come through here and loop it around up to here, just to kind of give it a contour. We'll take it from there, but worst case, we can drop the beam out real quick. I mean, come on guys, it's 4 bolts. Beam comes off. It's not like it's hard to get to with it extended out. And also, looks like we're going to have to probably trim back this inner beam also, the one we used as the frame head extension. Probably going to have to cut this back some also, but still leave enough room that we can tie in our bracing. So without further ado, let's get to work today. Alright, so you should be able to see we're taking the right side tie rod assembly from here to here. I have not tried to fit it yet. Let's see if it even fits. Seems like it so far. I think the trick's gonna be the other side. Well, wow, that clears on this side. Oh yeah, that actually clears by, whew, 1/4 inch. All right, let's back you up. Let's see what the other side does. Got that on the outside, and it hits. Just like I thought. So I have to trim this back. Maybe we'll trim the, oh hell, I don't know. But next step is we definitely need to go ahead and trim the inner sacrificial beam, as again we'll have bracing going from this one to this and then tied back probably into the frame head and the firewall. So all this will be, not to mention plated underneath. It'll be strong. So let me go ahead and figure out distance wise how much I want to try to leave off, or cut off, how much I want to leave. Then we'll go from there. All right, here's what I decided after a quick 3-second think about it. As long as I have enough here for the brace to tie into, if that makes sense. So I want the brace to tie into here, come across. As long as I have enough here, put a cap on the end, you know, weld a plate on the end, and weld the bracing to, I think I'll be all right. Or would I? Huh, it'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is mark 2 inches from the edge of the frame head out, and that's where we're going to cut her. I'll mark the other side. I'm going to grab that Sawzall and cut that off. All that smoke is from all the old grease inside the beams, the old beam still. That's just how hot that metal gets.
That's why you wear gloves.
All right, let's try this again. The side with the steering stabilizer always goes on the inner. So we'll stack the outer on the outer. Let's turn it so I can get to that one. These tie rods are actually decent. Alright, well, I got just a little bit of a clearance issue. I don't have them bolted on yet. If you look right here, just go ahead and turn it from one side to the other. I'll try to hold you still. Just barely rubs. So what we can do is probably notch this corner and fill it with a plate or something, and we should be fine. I went ahead and snugged up the tie rods just so we could see exactly where we're at. We're just barely rubbing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, kind of just notch this corner out. Then we can always take a piece of plate or something, put a little plate across it, weld it in, grind it down, just that way it gets rid of that bump. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Unbolt this side, and then we can raise it up out of the way. Well, we might not have to plate it. Let's go ahead and put it back on and see if we still rub. Yeah, just a little bit still. You see the mark right there where it's still rubbing. Let's take her down just a little bit more. Alright, let's give that a try. Little by little, never take too much. How we doing? Oh, it's barely a little further over now. Take 42. Take 1,763. Oh, come on. Take 2,916. You got to be kidding me. Take 3,612. Guys, this is getting annoying. I'm about ready to cut the whole thing out. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and cut a plate out, kind of like an L shape, to fill that hole and also strengthen it. Oh, we got tons of room now.
Hold on, going for a ride.
Yeah. Can't turn it and hold you. Tons of room. May tuck the bottom down just a little bit more, just to be safe. Other than that, we are good. Now we can move on. All right, guys, now that we got the
tie rods mounted,
let's move on to steering. How are we going to do that? Let me show you. Follow me. So, if you look here, you got the gearbox, right? Gearbox, drag joint, steering shaft. Now, if you look at this, this is down here, and that's up there. Huh. See, when I show you from the other side. Does that make more sense? Steering shaft, or gearbox goes up this way, steering shaft goes down that way. Don't worry. I have ideas. Let me show you what we got. So this is an intermediate shaft off of a Super Beetle. This side hooks up to the steering column. That side down there with that U-joint hooks up to rack and pinion. So they actually have a rack on those cars. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this for the U-joints. So we'll have one there, and that will take care of our angles. To make this work, pardon the messy workbench, but I've got the spline piece off of another vehicle. That's what hooks up normally to your rag joint, and your steering column hooks there. This piece is actually part of the Super Beetle steering column that will go into one side. So those two you get cut, welded together. That will take care of one side. Let me get some of this crap out of the way. There. So that side will go to that. This side, I notched this. This is some 5/8 inch round bar.
that I dropped.
So that 5/8 inch round bar will then go onto this side, and this part right here will get welded into the steering column. So we'll actually, the steering column will stay there. We'll have about 5 to 6 inches worth of bar up into the steering shaft where I can drill some holes, do some plug welds, and then do a weld around here. It'll be very solid. Now if you look at the ends here, remember these ends are made for, they're splined and they're made for the Super Beetle. See, that's kind of close. We need to widen that out just a little bit to get that in there. this side, we actually widen the gap a little bit and notch the bar, and that will actually hold it together. I know it's not splined. It'll hold it together. The notch and the bolt will actually keep it from rotating and spinning. It tightens up really tight. So that's essentially what we got to do. However, we're gonna have to cut this in the middle, and we're gonna have to shorten this, so we'll bevel both edges, weld it, and probably throw a piece of pipe over it or something just to help reinforce that. So in a nutshell, that's steering on the Franken Beetle, or whatever we name it. I know it's kind of hard to see without actually seeing it on the car. So let me get to cutting and welding, and we'll get to work. All right, so again, this part here that normally hooks up to your rag joint and goes into your steering column, we're gonna go ahead and cut that back so that fits into the other piece. And I got the tape mark there where we're gonna cut. All right, so I hit this real quick on the wire wheel just to get that set. And here's our piece for the shaft. So that'll go on there. We'll get that welded. Good enough for now. I think next we need to go ahead and cut our intermediate shaft. So we'll probably go ahead and mark that middle. What do you think, middle? How long is it, do you ask?
Long enough.
It's 9 3/4 inches. What's 9 3/4 inches? I don't know. Let's go 5 1/4. It's nowhere close, but it's close enough. All right, we'll go ahead and run a piece of... Are you guys getting in the way again? Run a piece of tape around just so we can get a clean-ish straight cut. Does that make sense? Clean-ish straight? Well, it made sense to me. This is how this is going to work. So we've got this end. Ooh. Needs a little lube. Got that end on there. So this will slide into the steering shaft like so. Like I said, we'll drill some plug welds and we'll run it around right here as well. This side, this is the one that we welded up, and that'll bolt on like so. I'll go ahead and get that bolted up, get everything lined up, and we'll tweak everything just to make sure everything's right. That one's on there. Get the tires straight-ish. Looks pretty good.
Where's our other joint?
All right, so this shaft will then slide onto here. Now we've got a little bit of play on that one because it is splined. We'll go ahead and put our bolt in. Maybe. Where is it at? Oh, it's too far in. There we go. Bolt is in. So now essentially, we got a lot to cut off. Can you see? I think maybe what we'll do is go ahead and cut it up here by this one. But I think that'll be... All right, let me get a marker. All right, we need to go roughly about right there. So I'll slide this out, cut this down, then we'll see where we're at. All right, I went ahead and beveled the edges some and took this side off. That side's ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide this one back on. And get our bolt back in. There we go. Bolt is in. Slid all the way forward. Go ahead and slide this in. I should probably do a couple plug welds first. Holes first for plug welds.
We got one there. One there.
All right, so we've got our shaft back on, bolted in place loosely. We got our beveled edge. I went ahead and drilled about 5 holes here, a little over 1/4 inch for plug welds. So I'll go ahead and get that in place. Now I do have a piece of angle I'm going to use to help, hopefully, keep these straight. So what we'll do first, let's get this one clamped on. That's not working.
Some of the other ones, maybe that's just too much of an angle for the dangle.
That's better. All right. So I made sure our steering wheel is straight. Well, that's going to get in the way.
Hell, you guys are getting in the way.
I just want to put a nice tack on it. All right, let's see how this goes. Watch your eyes. All right, that should be tacked in place. Let's go ahead and pull the vice grips off. I'm glad I noticed that the camera died right about then. So we'll go ahead and verify our steering wheel is straight, which it is. Find my glove. Let's go ahead and fill one of these plug welds here. Good enough, just to see if it works. Let's give it a whirl. Now I know I need bushings and bearings right here, so. Oh yeah. Look at that. No binding. And my steering wheel straight. Haha. Went ahead and took the stick welder and filled those holes real quick, just because. I'll clean up the welds later. Again, I know I need bearings and all that jazz, bushings, and the shaft, but you get the drift. Oops, you got in the way again. So once we get the bearings, bushings, whatever, up into here in the sleeve, that's still a little warm. That'll bring it up and actually put a really perfect angle on everything, and everything is right there where it needs to be. This is coming along nicely, other than the boogery welds. But I got a grinder for that. All right, guys, well, there we go. Steering's done, beams extended, everything works. For the most part. I mean, we need a few little parts here and there, but for the most part, it works. All tacked together. I can't be happier, honestly. Things are going great. So, here we go. Ended up having to cut a little more out than I thought, but I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and make kind of like a little plate to fill in. That's all later down the road. So most likely what we'll do on the next video is we'll go ahead and pull this apart and go ahead and start finish welding everything, get everything squared away there, then we can move on and really start diving into this entire car. Pulling the body, working on the chassis and the body, the whole 9 yards. Got a lot to do, guys. It's gonna be a bit of a series. We're gonna get it. My goal is for November 2021 to have this done. Will it get done beforehand? I don't know. Kind of ixnaying the family lately and working more on the 60. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, that's good. Again, guys, this is not going to be a lowrider. Those are not the tires that are staying on the car, I promise you. Talk to Levi about it, and to be honest, we thought about giving you guys a little hint on what it's going to be. We want to keep that a secret. Shh. No, not yet. It's not time to reveal yet. So, this is how you're going to see it for now. But we will probably go ahead, roll out the car, soak everything real good with some degreaser, hit it with the pressure washer, get everything clean. That way we can go ahead and start wire wheeling, finish welding, all that jazz. And it'll be nice because we can just pull the 2 rag joint bolts, pull that bolt out, that whole piece will just slip right out. There we go, done. 4 bolts, tie rods, beams out. Nice thing is I still have provisions for the steering stabilizer if I decide to run it. Don't worry, I probably will. So we got a lot more bracing to do, get that frame head solid. We got quite a bit of work. But I want to say, honestly, we're probably 60 to 70% there. So we're getting close. Getting real close to being done with the front end, so we can move on. Guys, I appreciate you being around. Thank you guys for your support. I appreciate it. Again, it's down in the description below. I put it on since day one. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not responsible for your work on your ride. But I will make mine safe. Because I want to be safe. I want my family to be safe. I know this works. Trust me. I know what I'm doing. But I can't be liable for your work. Anyway, till the next time, take care, stay safe, enjoy, and be good.